Just before we start looking at images, I want to talk about this because this is also a fundamental part of composing and painting in general. There are really only three kinds of marks you can make. There are C-curves, S-curves, and straights. Any stroke you make should be able to be boiled down to one of those. And that includes the designing principle behind a composition. Throughout this course, I will constantly be referring to these three curves. So I want to spend just a few minutes right now going over them so we all are on the same page. Starting with C-curves. A C-curve is anything that looks like the letter C. You can, it doesn't have to be a perfect C like that. It can be off kilter like this, or it can be inverted like this. You can, of course, you can combine C-curves together to create different kinds of things. And closing it off like that, well, like this, makes a shape. Okay, so we can create all kinds of shapes with just C-curves. Okay, going into S-curves, it's anything that looks like the letter S. So please bear with me, this is all very advanced. S-curves can be, all kinds of different, they can take all kinds of forms, but they generally conform to some kind of an S shape. Okay? And then straights, this is the most basic one, it's just a straight line. But you can create all kinds of shapes by connecting straight lines together. Okay, it's almost endless what you can do. I can connect these here and make a triangle. And you remember a triangle from the lesson just a few moments ago. This one makes like the letter Z. You'll see how the letter Z comes into play a little later in this lesson, actually. You can make squares and all kinds of different polygonal shapes. Okay, these are all very powerful. Now, why are they so powerful, and why am I so caught up on them? The reason is because they enable us to simplify shapes in nature. Now, of course, nature makes more complex shapes. Like in nature, you might see a shape that looks maybe like this. Okay. But in art, what we do is we have to be editors. We have to take this shape and simplify it. Maybe I'll say that's a straight with another straight, maybe a C-curve, straight, straight, and an S. And that's my version. This is my simplified version of the shape on the left. And what this does, in my own lingo, I call simple beautiful. And the reason it's beautiful is because simple is very readable. You have to imagine, guys, that in a painting, you have thousands of shapes that are back to back beside each other. If you have all these shapes that are like this, that are all weirdly formed and look more like road maps than simple shapes, like a road map, if you look at a road map, the roads kind of look like this. If your shapes look like this, and you have 1,000 of them, it's not going to look pretty. It's not going to look beautiful. Okay, we want our work to look beautiful. And to achieve that look, we need to simplify. We are always simplifying. So throughout the rest of this class, not just this week, throughout the rest of this class, I will be imploring everybody to make beautiful shapes. And this, C-curve, S-curve, straight, this idea of these three shapes, these three kinds of marks, this is, kind of step one to achieving that. This is how we're going to probe the concept of design. So to sum it up, what is design? Simplifying the shapes found in the real world and using them as a foundation for our work. Now, finally, let's take a look at some pictures and try to understand their design based on their designing principle.